Okay, hi everybody, we're here for day 3. I want to cover a bit more ephemera, other ideas, so other forms of envelopes. This is a glassine bag, a glassine envelope. This is quite a lovely paper, people love using this glassine. So you can buy these envelopes ready-made. But I'm going to show you a couple of ways that you can make envelopes yourself that look like the glassine. So this is a really cheap greaseproof paper, so it's very, very thin. Obviously it's going to tear easily. So we've got that. We've got tracing paper, which is probably the closest to glassine. It's thick and it's got a it's a little bit stronger. And then we've also got baking paper. This is just a cheap baking paper. Some baking papers don't have this gloss, but this particular one has a gloss. So this actually is probably, you can't see it so well, but it's very similar to glassine. So let's have a look at what we could do with these different items. Let's start with this greaseproof paper. So as you can see, it's actually incredibly fine. Now if we cut it, put it on this grid here. Let me just cut this side. Okay, so one way we could make a pocket is having a fold over here. This is just a very simple idea. Thin bit of glue along the edge. Very simple, very easy. Put a thin bit along this edge too. So as you can see, even if you haven't got glassine bags, you can make a little pocket. Now you could decorate this pocket. I've got a little bit of washi here. Just to give it just a little bit more interest along that edge there. You could stick this into something in your junk journal, or you could put glue all the way around and stick it down. Now, one thing I didn't talk about was, this is the book contents, so likely inside you're going to have signatures, which are the pages, which are generally, let me have an example. So I've printed out one of these. This is a bit of my own printing, and I've scanned it in and just mucked around with it. And this will be what is called a signature page. And we'll get a bunch of these and then we sew them into the back. So we're not doing that just yet, but I just want to give you an example. So if this is the size of the pages in my book, and this is a signature, this is clearly, when this is sewn into the spine, this is going to be too wide. So the signature is going to be somewhere like that sort of size. So I'm just for now going to fold this as a way of it being a bit of a guide. Of course, if you're coming to do this series a bit later, after the whole 30 days is already up, you might get to this point and you might want to skip ahead and do your signatures. If you want, that's all free world. Do it how you like it. Okay, so in terms of the size of my signature, if I was to stick this down, it will fit perfectly fine, and it'll be a pocket for, just get a bit of paper, just a pocket to put things in, see? And the beauty of it is that it's see-through. This is why people love glassine bags, because they're see-through. This is probably the cheapest way of making a glassine bag or envelope. The cheapest and probably the easiest. It's just a bit folded over and make a little lip. If you want to, you don't need that on the back. You could have it folded down like that, just as long as you can see where the opening is to put things in and out. Okay, so that's one. All right, tracing paper. Now tracing paper is a lot sturdier, so we can muck around a little bit more with tracing paper. And I'm going to get a rough estimate. If my signature is about that tall, that's basically the outer edge. Right, so it's going to be this size. Let me show you what I might do. I know I didn't want to get onto signatures yet because we're doing ephemera for a couple of days. However, it's important that you have the guide and don't get things a little bit bigger than they need to be. Alright, so I'm going to imagine that I want to put an envelope in my signature. Move that out the way. Move my glassine bag, put it with the other little bag. I'm going to want it to be not the exact same size, but I'm going to want it to be a bit smaller, this one. Now, don't throw that away, we're going to use that later. Alright, so I know it's a bit hard to see, but you can probably see that it's about just a bit less than 1/2 centimetre top and bottom in its depth to the signature. I want to be able to know, and I just don't know how I can show this a bit better because it's sort of a bit too see-through. So you can see about another just under 1/2 centimetre again. So if I go along to this edge and I get another just under 1/2 centimetre, just do a little crease. Fold. Okay, so So now we've got this fold, just so what you've got now is a basic shape. From here we can do so many things with this. I love working with the tracing paper, I think, because it's got a good weight to it. A basic envelope like the other one we did before would be just to glue down the sides. I'd like to do something else with this one. I might sew down the sides. So if you have no sewing machine, then it doesn't matter, it's fine. You can just glue it. There's another thing I don't mind doing with these. Now I've cut a bit off. I haven't cut it exactly down at the join there. I've just given it a little bit of an edge. Now to get this one to match, I've had it like this. I'm going to turn it over this way and put it down here. And match it, and that way it's going to be even. Okay, now we can save these as well for later. There will be a use for them. There's always a use for your little bits and pieces, always. Alright, so we've got a basic envelope shape here now. I'm going to just go and sew it, and I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, so as you can see, I've sewn around all the edges and it's created a little envelope. Cut these off. So you're beginning to see that there is a variety of ways of making envelopes and pockets. You may be able to use your printer and print a design onto your envelope. You may be able to glue something else onto your tracing paper, like a napkin or something. We can cover that in another day and make an envelope. Alright. Now let's make another type of envelope. A smaller one maybe. Once again, this can come in handy for embellishments. Alright, if this is the half page size, and then we cut off the bit of the edge. And once we've cut this off, we know that we've definitely got a width that'll fit onto our signature. Okay. Let's cut this one. I'm using my cutting mat as a square, you know, to square up. Now this is a different type of envelope or pocket. Just going to put a little bit of glue along this edge. this particular baking paper is actually very waxy, so it's much more like a wax parchment. Alright, so we've got it like this. What we want to do is fold up this little back bit here. Okay, so when we've folded this up, you can see we're going to just cut a little corner there and cut a little corner here. And we're going to fold this outside one back, cut the inside one off, because if this inside one was there and we folded it, we'd have to double glue. We'd have to glue it twice. Okay, so just neaten that up. And we're going to put some glue along this edge. And fold it over and glue it down. Now what we've got is a little bag. It's a little pocket. We could cut a little notch. Or not. I didn't want to do it very well. One thing I didn't show you with bits of paper, if it doesn't work that you haven't got a punch, you can just rip a notch. And when it's paper, you can make it fairly grungy if you like. There. Okay, so that is 3 different types of envelopes or pockets from a see-through type of material. Or 4 actually, if we include ready-bought glassine envelopes. So this gives you an opportunity now to go and have a muck around and see what you've got. If you've got nothing but a bit of baking paper, there you go. If you've got nothing but grease paper, there you go. You've got some tracing paper, or if you already have some glassine bags. So we're just going to get a few of those together. I guess homework is to maybe make double this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe we could have about 8 perhaps ready to go before we get to the end. So once again, we're compiling enough things to have ready to put our journals together at the end. Okay, bye for now. See you in number 4.